everyone. I hope everyone has had a fabulous week. Thank you so much for calling in. We've had a really good week here at Open Sky. It's hard to believe that it is indeed August 2nd. It seems like it was just yesterday that it was the beginning of May and we were launching our marketplace. So we are in full force now. School's about to start again, and we're hitting, we're in Q3 now. So before you know it, the holidays will be here. So everyone better be ready. Today, we are very happy to have with us a special guest who is a veteran of Open Sky, Elise Diamond, who is our Director of Communications and Insider Management. Elise wears many hats around here. She manages all of our insiders, and a lot of you, have asked along the way lots of different questions about how the insiders work, how you get your product in front of the insiders, how the insiders interact with Open Sky and that kind of thing. So we decided to have Elise come on and really give you the 411 on how that works and the backstory, how we came to have insiders and all that kind of stuff. So without any further ado, I will turn it over to Elise. Elise, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to be on the call today and meet everyone. And of course, as Will Hunt mentioned, I have been with Open Sky sort of from the beginning. So it's great to be able to talk with all of you, share some of my experiences, share with you, having now worked with our insiders for over 2 years, a little bit more about what they're looking for, the kinds of products they're most interested in, and then, we can open it up to questions. I'm happy to help. I'll give you my contact info so you can reach out to me anytime if you have questions, and that's sort of how we'll do it. So how did we start with insiders? Some of you may be familiar with kind of the original model of Open Sky, which we launched in 2011. And back then, effectively what Open Sky offered was sort of a celebrity or expert curated shopping experience where we had around 80 to 100 insiders who at that point we called curators, who actually each had their own shops on the platform where they would merchandise their favorite things and share content with their fans. And it was essentially a place for the fan base they had built out in the world and on Twitter and Facebook and other social media to now have a place to buy from their favorite people. And now that the model has switched and we've launched our marketplace, the great thing is that just about all of the insiders we worked with in our old business model are still with us. And not only are they still with us, but they're actually more engaged than ever before. So I think the first thing I would recommend, if you haven't already, is make sure you're following all of our insiders. I think it's really smart to do that, even if they're not necessarily in our vertical. And I don't know if Will Hunt has already shared this link with you, but again, feel free to reach out to me after this. I'll give you my email address, and I can actually share with you the page on our site that lists all of our insiders. And as you probably know, we have insiders across various verticals, from home and electronics to food, healthy living, style, beauty, and we're actually bringing on more insiders actively, so there will be a wider variety of people whom you can get your products in front of. So I think step one would certainly be to follow everyone and check out their profiles and kind of get a feel for the sort of products that they're, choosing and commenting on. You could even do it now while we're on the phone if you're interested. The link is opensky.com/insiders. So feel free to check that out. So that would be step one for sure, follow the insiders. So how do the insiders find product that they love? There are a few different ways we do it here. You know, as I mentioned, we have over 100 insiders on the platform. If you've perused the site and perused their profiles, you've probably noticed that there are varying levels of activity among our insiders. We certainly have a large percentage of our insider and expert community who are super involved. And for any of you who may have been at our event last night, in our office in New York, we actually had Georgia Pellegrini, who's one of our longtime insiders, here speaking on our panel. You may want to check her out because she's actually been quite engaged in some really interesting ways. So for instance, she found a wonderful vanilla from one of our merchants, and instead of just posting kind of a general comment like, love this vanilla, she actually took it a step further and posted a recipe so that her followers could purchase the vanilla and then kind of have a fun takeaway and actually have a recipe they could use. So, you know, I definitely encourage you to follow Georgia and see the way she's been engaging because it may help you as well when you're thinking about the kind of engagement you want to undertake on the site, and she's been very creative in her content. So to go back to how they use the platform, there are a few ways they find product. One, for the most engaged insiders, I would say, quite honestly, many of them are logging in several times per week, and they're using our Discover functionality to find new products and popular products, and really they're using OpenSky like you and I would use it. They're using it as members. They're taking, whether it's 15 minutes or a half an hour a few times per week, and they're really logging in and they're digging into the marketplace and they're really checking out your products to see what piques their interest. And they're certainly loving a ton of products. And our most engaged insiders are then taking the next step and commenting and writing, if it's like Georgia, a super thoughtful comment. I love to see those. And then, of course, you see more casual comments from several of our insiders as well. So you can rest assured that many of them are using the platform just like members to get in there and discover products. Another way that we can get your product in front of our insiders is by using me as a resource. So the way I communicate with our insiders is I will actually email or call the most engaged insiders on a weekly basis, and I will send them links to some of our best new shops that have launched. And what do I mean by best new shops? There's a few criteria that we think about when we're sending new stores to insiders. And I'm sure that, you know, this is probably not going to come as a surprise to anyone, but, you know, our insiders certainly respond to engaged merchants who are really getting into their feed and posting valuable content and promotions to their members. And they also, of course, respond quite well to compelling photography. So we shouldn't underestimate the value of great imagery and great content when you're thinking about, you know, what's going to stand out for an insider. Of course, exclusive product is also very compelling to an insider because, you know, they kind of like the idea that this is the only place that their follower can find this product. And again, feel free to reach out to me. My email is Alyse, ALYSE, @opensky.com, and Will Hunt can send that out afterwards as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to give you pointers on getting your product in front of insiders. I'm happy to send insiders who are relevant to your verticals a link to your shop. What I usually do is I'll send out a link to your shop to the insiders who I think are most appropriate and will be most responsive to your product. And oftentimes they will ask for samples before they feel comfortable loving or commenting, at which time I would reach back out to you and see if you're able to send samples. But one thing that I always say is don't stress about having to send samples. I think it's great if you want to provide samples for insiders, but oftentimes many of them are willing and able to get into the platform and engage with your products without having to have it physically. So oftentimes you don't have to worry about that, because I know for some businesses you're small, or you're just getting off the ground, or your samples are expensive, or shipping is expensive, and I don't want that to be a barrier to entry for you, for getting insider love. But of course, depending on the vertical, sometimes samples are requested, particularly in the beauty space, because insiders will like to test them, make sure they're right for their skin type, et cetera. But generally, we can do a lot of the product showcasing, so to speak, over email. So that is sort of the very top line, bird's eye view of how we work with insiders at OpenSky.
Wow, that's really great. I think that cleared up a lot of some of the confusion and some of the things that people wondered about how that worked. I'm going to open the floor up for questions. If you do have questions, just simply dial *6, and we'll get them answered. Elise is happy to answer, so feel free to ask anything about insiders, about how they work, or anything that Elise talked about. We do have a couple of questions that were submitted before the call that we'll go ahead and ask. Rashida from Milwaukee asked, how does OpenSky choose insiders?
So how does OpenSky choose insiders? Above all else, we look for people who are experts in a certain area. So as you'll see, we have a fabulous roster of top chefs from across the country, and they have been some of our most engaged insiders. They can really speak to how to use the products that our merchants are selling, because they really are living it every day and using artisanal food products and kitchen tools in their businesses. So I would say that's what I look for above all else, are experts in their field. But of course, as many of you have probably noticed, we also have celebrities, because let's be honest, we're a celebrity-driven culture. Some of our celebrity insiders have massive followings on social media and elsewhere that they've managed to bring over to OpenSky. They now have huge followings on OpenSky, and when they discover your products, you're then getting huge exposure on the platform. So I think really those are kind of the two branches of insider we have. We have experts and we have celebrities.
Awesome, awesome. We have a question now from Pam from Paper, Scissors, Rock. Hi, Pam. How are you? Again, if anyone else has questions, dial *6. Pam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. I have two, basically they're curiosity questions. One is, and I don't think it really necessarily matters, but I'm curious, are these actually the insiders interacting, or there's someone on their staff? And also, and again, I don't know that it really matters, I'm just kind of curious. And the other question is, what's the payoff for them?
Okay, I can answer both of those. So to answer your first question, believe it or not, these really are the insiders getting in the platform and getting engaged. It's not their assistants. Maybe there's a rare case where someone will occasionally, maybe it's a summer Friday and the insider's away and they'll have an assistant, comment for them, but it's true engagement from the insiders themselves.
I asked you that yesterday. We were talking about that yesterday.
Right, that's true. So that's, to answer question number one. And I think actually something interesting that Georgia mentioned when she was here at our office last night for the panel, she actually offered, reach out to me on Twitter. Write to me. My handle is @GeorgiaPellegrini. Write to me and say, hey, I'm an OpenSky merchant. I'd love to get you my product. And she's totally open to that. And I actually think many of our insiders are open to that as well. So you can all be thinking about, okay, now that I'm a merchant on OpenSky and I have this community of insiders available to me, how else could I potentially get my products in front of them? And I think many of them would be very open to you reaching out on other forms of social media. And how are the insiders incentivized? I mean, naturally, I can't share specifics of how they are incentivized, but we have been working with most of these people for going on 3 or 4 years. Many of them. So we do have arrangements with them so that they continue to participate.
Thank you.
You got it.
This kind of goes along, I've got a question. Again, if you have questions, *6. This kind of goes along with what Pam asked. Corvette from Burlington asked, if an insider comments or loves one of my products, does it affect the amount of money I get when the product sells?
That's a great question. Obviously, if an insider loves your product, it's only going to benefit you, because think about it. Let's use someone like a Bobby Flay, for example. Bobby Flay has over 1 million followers on OpenSky. If he loves your product, that love is then broadcasted out to his 1 million+ followers, and it actually has absolutely no impact on your bottom line. It's all good. It's all love. You make more money when Bobby or one of our insiders are promoting your products.
Great. Again, *6, I have another question that was actually emailed to me. It's from Rudina in Little Rock. Can more than one insider love or comment on my product?
Another great one. Yes, there is no limit to the engagement from our insiders on your product. Some of you may have noticed, whether it's on your own products or other products from other merchants you're connected with, we're seeing multiple insiders loving some of the same products. We're seeing insiders commenting on many of the same products. There's no limit. And again, if you think about it, our insiders all have different follower bases, much the same way you as merchants all have different communities of followers. So sure, there is some overlap there on who will see those loves, but the more love you get, the bigger community there is who will see your goods.
That's really neat. Another question that was emailed to me earlier, Binaka from Dallas asked, if an insider loves my product, how can I get a sample to them?
Sure. So if you see that an insider loves your product, again, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm Elise at OpenSky.com, ALYSE@OpenSky.com, and you can just introduce yourself, say, hey, Elise, I noticed that such and such insider loved my product. I would love to get them a sample. I'll give you my address, and you can send me the sample, and I am sending out boxes of product to insiders on a weekly basis. So we keep it moving pretty quickly here. You send me something, and I'll get it out to the requested insider.
That's great. Come on, let's hear your questions. *6, we'd love to have them. Joe Ree phoned in this question earlier. Is OpenSky actively adding to its insider roster?
Yes, actually, we are actively adding insiders to our community.
We just have a new insider that recently joined.
Yes, we actually recently had Jenny Garth of 90210 fame join our community. She's just now this week starting to get involved, so feel free, if any of you feel that you have products that might be a great fit for Jenny, you can reach out to me and send them along. Jenny is fairly focused in the healthy living, wellness, and style space. She's all about being a healthy mom with a healthy family. So if you think along those lines, I'd be thrilled to send her some of your products. And we are actively adding insiders to our community. And as we do that, Will Hunt will communicate back to you all to let you know who has recently joined.
Great. We have a question now. I'm not sure of your name, but you, the last 4 digits of your phone number is 1321.
Hi, this is Dawn. My question was, how often should I be posting content, and how varied should it be? Like, should there be 3 a day, and what are the ranges that will engage the insiders as well as the other followers?
Well, we've been really ramping up our efforts in making our feed as robust as possible, and that almost on a daily basis, where our tech team is adding more functionality to it. We just had a huge release last week, just to the aesthetically, and a couple of new functions. So we have seen, and the data has come in, that the more active you are in the feed, then the more engaged your followers will be with your brand, which will then translate into sales dollars. So, and we've kind of thrown this topic around the office here at OpenSky about what really engages people, what kind of posts, and we've kind of come to the conclusion that it is a mix of promotional posts and just everyday posts. Whether it is, this is what's going on in our workshop today, or this is what's going on in our office today, or, I posted this new product, check it out, or for today only, I'm offering free shipping. So it's a mix of those two things. When you're posting things about your brand, about the day-to-day operations of your brand, it really invites the followers and members into your, into your actual, company or into your workshop or what have you, and they really feel like they really get to know you rather than just being a storefront. So that's a really good way to engage with people, at the same time mixing in promotion. So I say do it as often as you wish. At least I would say once or twice a day. But just ramp it up. And the more you post, the more you'll be appearing in people's feeds. And your content will be fresh, and you'll be top of mind for your followers. I think Elise can speak more about with the insiders and how they, kind of look into the feeds, and it's probably along the same line.
So I think what's interesting about the insiders is we certainly have a super engaged group of them who are logging in every day, just like you are. So that all the more reason for you to be keeping your content fresh. And you'll notice probably that more and more, as we've worked on our user experience, insiders are starting to follow more and more shops, as opposed to simply loving and commenting on product. They're actually starting to follow your shops because they want to receive updates on your promotions and your content, and they want to be seeing that in their feed. They don't only use the Discover page to find new product. They are logging in, they're checking out their feeds, because again, remember, we did have in our older business model, it was a feed-driven experience, so that is a lot of what they're accustomed to. So I would certainly encourage you to post very frequently, and you'll notice that for some of them, the most engaged insiders who are getting in there at least a few times a week are very involved, and they're loving and commenting on several products at a time. So it's great to see, a group of super engaged merchants and super engaged insiders all communicating with one another.
That's a great thing. Again, *6. I have one more question that was previously submitted, and this was submitted from Faye Ann in Chicago. Do any of the insiders actually sell any of their own product on OpenSky?
Good question. So actually, we do have a few insiders who have their own product lines. So it's interesting, and I can, again, Will Hunt maybe will share with you some of their shops so that you can get a feel for how our insiders are engaging with their own brands. Valerie Waters has her own line of fitness equipment. Tracy Anderson, also, many of you may be familiar with her, big name in the fitness world. She sells her own fitness equipment and wellness formulas on the platform, as does Bethany Frankel, Donna DeCruz with her own line of jewelry. And actually, more and more, our insiders are actually turning to us as a place where they can sell their lines. As not only a great other point of distribution, but a place that's actually more social and allows them to engage with an active following rather than just kind of selling their goods to a department store and forgetting about it.
Right. All right. If you don't have any other questions, I think this is a really, really good, informative kind of open door into the way that we work with our insiders. I hope it's answered a lot of your questions. If you do have questions going forward, as Elise said, please feel free to reach out to her. Elise, A-L-Y-S-E, that's A-L-Y-S-E, at opensky.com. As always, you can reach out to me, W.Lewis, at opensky.com. We'll be back next week. I will be away next week, but you will be in the very capable hands of Allison Carluccio, who is, a lot of you, I'm sure, have corresponded with. She leads our merchant help team. So she answers a lot of your questions when you respond into or write into merchant help. She'll be taking over next week with more great information, so we're excited for that. In the meantime, you know we're always here to help. You have all of our email addresses from merchant help at opensky.com to Elisa's to mine. Please feel free to reach out anytime with any and all questions. And in the meantime, we have these valuable few weeks of summer left, so be sure to enjoy them. Spend these last few weekends with a barbecue or with family and friends at the lake, and make the most of your Open Sky experience while doing it. So I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you so much.